Hey guys, what is going on? I hope you all are doing well today. Elliot here, and welcome back to The Fragrance Well. So, with autumn season coming up, let's continue with that theme, and we're just gonna talk about some of the best autumn fragrances I have in my collection. Fact of the matter is, I've actually got quite a few that could go onto a list like this, so I'm actually gonna break this up into maybe 2 or 3 videos where I just talk about some of my best autumn fragrances. So we're only gonna have 7 on the list for today. What do I consider really good autumn time fragrances? These are gonna be fragrances that have characteristics such as spiciness, woodiness, warmth, amberiness, maybe a little bit of sweetness. Some fragrances can even just kind of smell like autumn, if you will. And like I said before, I got a lot of fragrances that have those characteristics, and as many fragrance enthusiasts agree, autumn is the best time of year to bring out some of the best fragrances in existence. So let's go ahead and get right into it. But before we do, as always, please remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and please hit that bell icon and enable notifications so you can be notified when I upload new videos. Let's get into it. All right, guys, first up, we got one from the house of Jezada. This is gonna be Ambassador Intense. Jezada, Ambassador Intense. So with this fragrance here, this is gonna be a flanker to the very successful Ambassador fragrance from the house, which is also good for fall, but I wanted to give this one a little bit of shine. This is spicy, it's woody, it's a little bit fruity, it's a little bit sweet. It has a very strong, like lavender-like aromatic touch to it. Spices, some of them are probably gonna be things like nutmeg and cinnamon, spices of that nature. So warm and fresh spice characteristic to it. Really nice, luxurious woodiness to it, not really bitey, if you will. And like I said, a little bit of sweetness, and there's just kind of this collection of florals tying those two elements together for this fragrance. This does have a little bit of a similarity to Dior's Sauvage Elixir, where that one is a little bit more brash and rough around the edges. This one's really smoothed out, in my opinion. That doesn't smell exactly like it, but it does kind of walk the same veins. But this fragrance definitely has many qualities that would make it an awesome autumn time fragrance. Certainly has the performance capabilities, in my opinion, or at least with my wearing experience. And that's why it made the list for today. So once again, from Jezada, this is Ambassador Intense. All right, next one is coming from The Harmonist, and it's gonna be Hypnotizing Fire. The Harmonist, Hypnotizing Fire. I am pretty sure many of you are aware of this scent by now. This one has certainly made its rounds in the community in terms of what people talk about. By the way, this is the Parfum. I don't have the EDP. I've never smelled the EDP. When I bought this fragrance, I didn't even know there was an EDP. So please do not ask me about the differences between the two. Find out for yourself, because I'm not going to, because I've never even seen the EDP at a store. I've only seen the Parfum versions of these. So now that I got that out the way, what is this fragrance? It is spice. It is warmth. It's a little bit ambery. It's a little bit woody. There's a little bit of a rose-like quality to it. Has really smooth vanilla to it. Kind of a ethereal effervescence kind of quality to the scent. And it does, for me, it does kind of remind me of like watching a fire. It does have a little bit of a fiery, passionate smell to it. But this is an awesome fragrance for the autumn season. It pretty much checks all those boxes, especially with the spice profile, the slight sweet ambery profile to it. It's not overly woody, but it does have kind of like a slight woody base to it. But yeah, it checks all those boxes for making it an awesome autumn time fragrance. Smells amazing, compliment getter. Certainly does have the performance capabilities, at least with my wearing experience. So once again, from The Harmonist, this is Hypnotizing Fire. All right, next one is coming from Chanel, and it's going to be Le Lion de Chanel. Le Lion de Chanel from Chanel. This is their, I forget the name of the line, but it's their more exclusive collection, as you guys probably are aware. And this one here, it's not for everyone. Gonna just put that out there right now, but man, do I love this stuff. This is primarily going to be an ambery fragrance. It has some leathery characteristics to it. Pretty much focuses mainly on the labdanum overall, which is a resin that is often used to make amber accords. So this one I don't find to be really sweet, but it is ambery overall. Really makes good use of patchouli and sandalwood at the base of the fragrance, which that combination of notes or accords man, really just makes some awesome kind of woody style fragrances. Not really overly woody with this one, but it does have that quality to it. And man, if you like really kind of heavy ambery scents with leathery facets to it, some people even say this is animalic. There is a slight spicy quality to the fragrance. I don't really get the animalic nature, but I can understand it. Maybe people see it as sweaty, but if you like really deep, heavy ambery scents, this is one that might be worth checking out. And this stuff is really great for cooler weather. I love particularly wearing this in the cold. I will wear it when it's warm, but this is one I actually like to save for cooler temperatures. So once again, from Chanel, this is Le Lion de Chanel. All right, next one is coming from Memo, and it's going to be African Leather. Memo African Leather. I mean, this one's pretty much a staple in the community. Quick story time real quick. I actually discovered this scent before I started collecting. I had learned about the house of Memo from the late great Kevin Samuels in just, kind of a separate video that actually wasn't about fragrances. And I bought some samples from Memo directly, and African Leather was one of them. And this fragrance blew me away. So I knew I wanted it even way back then, but my money wasn't as good as it is now, so spending $300 for a fragrance was pretty much out of the question at the time. And obviously, because I wasn't collecting or in the community, I didn't know anything about discounters. So, you can obviously get this for way less than full retail. And I kind of slept on this fragrance, obviously, for the entirety of me collecting, and finally got it. So I literally just got this in. But what is this scent, in case you are unfamiliar? It is leathery, but it's like leather in the background. This is mostly going to be a spicy, very warm and rich kind of ambery fragrance with actually a pretty strong note of rose. And I didn't notice that when I first got the scent. Didn't really know what rose smelled like, but there's a really strong note of rose in this. But it's ambery and woody at the base. It's lots of spicy characteristics to it, and pleasant spices, not like stanky spices or anything like that. But yeah, it does have a leathery facet to it, but this is a part of a line that has a lot of leather fragrances, and there's some awesome ones there. This is actually one of the ones with the lightest leather accord, so it's a little bit misleading with the name, but the stuff smells amazing. And as far as I know, this is still at least one of the most popular fragrances from the house. So once again, from Memo, this is African Leather. All right, next one is coming from Amouage, and this is gonna be King Blue. Amouage King Blue. Fair warning before I get started, this one's not gonna be for everyone. It does make use of Assam oud, which if I'm not mistaken is a form of Indian oud, or just is Indian oud, maybe just another name for it. And the oud in this is present. You're gonna get it right off the bat. And it is a little bit barnyard-like. It's not really fecal, but it is a little bit barnyard. It's hay-like, it's very earthy, it's very strong up front. But if you don't mind that, or if you can get past it, once you get past that, this fragrance is a little bit leathery, it's quite warm and ambery, it's woody. It also makes use of that sandalwood patchouli kind of blend that is very, very nice in fragrances. So it doesn't smell like Le Lion, but it does share that quality to it. And again, if you kind of just get past the oud, if you don't like it, which I would say at that point, find something else. But if you can handle the oud, this fragrance is very nice, especially on the dry down. It is so pleasant after that. And I do like wearing this in warmer weather, but the very nature of the fragrance in terms of just how it comes across from a smell profile, if you will, it's kind of made for those autumn temperatures. So really looking forward to wearing this when it cools down a little bit to see how it wears in those cooler temperatures. So once again, from Amouage, this is King Blue. All right, let's move on to one from Lalique. This is going to be Ombre Noire. Lalique Ombre Noire. Now to me, this is one of those fragrances that purely smells like autumn if you've had the experience I'm about to describe. If you've ever been into like an apple cider orchard, or let's just say like a barn or an orchard where apple cider is being served, replace the apple cider with like whiskey barrels, and that's what this fragrance smells like. I'm talking about like you walk in, it's got the spicy smell of autumn or the holiday season, say like pumpkin spice, cinnamon, nutmeg. This fragrance has all those kind of spicy profiles to it. Particularly the cinnamon, maybe not so much the nutmeg, but definitely the cinnamon. It's got the dried woodiness that you might find in like an orchard. Especially relative to say like whiskey barrels, it's definitely got the whiskey like booziness. That is what this fragrance smells like. It smells like being in a whiskey orchard at Christmas time, and therefore for me at least, or at least here in the States, in certain areas, that is like synonymous with the autumn season. So that's why I say this fragrance has the qualities of an autumn fragrance and also just kind of smells like autumn in my opinion. So once again, from Lalique, this is Ombre Noire. All right, and last but certainly not least, from By Kilian, this is Old Fashioned. By Kilian, Old Fashioned. So this one, from a fragrance breakdown standpoint, does have the elements of a autumn fragrance. It's boozy, it's warm, it's ambery, it's a little bit sweet. So it just checks all those boxes easily. It also does remind me of an old fashioned. It has elements that make me think of an old fashioned. That being said, maybe not so much a fall time old fashioned, because old fashions can actually be seasonal. There are old fashions that make use of, say, like smoky smoke with the old fashioned, and maybe even will throw some spice synonymous with the autumn season in there. Could even be pumpkin spice. They may even throw like apple crisp in there or apple type notes. This makes it kind of a fall time old fashioned. This doesn't really have that, but again, just the fragrance from a style standpoint works perfectly for the autumn season. This just got released, so it was basically released, at least for the northern hemisphere, for the autumn season coming up, and I am curious to see how this translates in autumn. I actually don't mind wearing this when it's a little bit warmer as well, but that's neither here nor there. Once again, from By Kilian, this is Old Fashioned. Alright guys, that is going to do it for this video. As I stated in the intro, I'm going to do a couple more videos with the same subject matter so I can integrate more fragrances into it rather than it just being one big long video. So let me know down in the comments below what you think of some of these fragrances if you are familiar with them, and hey, let me know what you are looking forward to wearing for the upcoming autumn season. What are some of your favorite autumn fragrances? I'm certainly looking forward to seeing what you guys have to say. Thanks again for watching all the way into the end. I really do appreciate you guys. Please remember to be well and smell well. And I'll see you in the next episode of The Fragrance Well. Have a good one.